Ready? Here we go. Starting unit 7, and it's just a ton of information on one day. So I need everybody listening because I have to think really hard. This stuff doesn't come easy to me personally as a teacher. Okay, everyone listen. Today we're going to be dealing with a sequence of numbers with a specific pattern, and most of the time we're going to be aiming at what are called arithmetic patterns and geometric patterns. First things first, I want you to look right here. What's the pattern? Let me erase this D so my brain can just like look at these numbers. What is the pattern? Like what's happening from one term to the next? Adding 3, adding 3, adding 3, adding 3. I need everybody listening. If you're adding or subtracting the same number every time, it's called arithmetic. We've just got to get right into it. Arithmetic. If it's arithmetic, it's going to be adding or subtracting the same number each time. Now listen carefully because there's going to be some formulas today. To figure out what you're adding forward or subtracting forward, you actually subtract backwards. So watch. 8 minus 5 is 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. 2 minus negative 1 is 3. Do you guys see how you subtract backwards to figure out what you're adding forward? Yes? Okay. Now, next thing is... look right here. For example, look at this pattern. What's happening this time? Times by 2, times by 2, times by 2. Now listen, to figure out, oh, you're saying it's divide by 2? Then we're actually timesing by a half, timesing by a half, timesing by a half, okay? To figure out, yes, if you're multiplying by the same number, it's considered geometric. Now, to figure out what you're multiplying forward, just like we subtract backwards, we divide backwards. So you'll do 2 divided by 4 is 1/2. 4 divided by 8 is a half. 8 divided by 16 is a half. So you divide backwards to figure out what you're multiplying forward. So on a test, if it's not as obvious as these, sometimes you'll have to look at it and the pattern won't be obvious. And you'll have to check. Is 2 minus 4... 4 minus 8, 8 minus 16? No, then it's not arithmetic. Is 2 divided by 4 a half? Is 4 divided by 8 a half? Is 8 divided by 16 a half? Yes, then it's geometric. Okay, now vocabulary words. I need you all listening or you are going to get confused with formulas. I used to get way confused back in the day, even in my college classes with this stuff. So let's say I call this A sub n. Well, first, this is A sub 1. A sub 1 just stands for first term. Okay, so A sub n could be any term we're talking. So if I said to you A sub 10, what term am I talking? 10th term. Does everyone understand? Which, if you look at that then, n equals 10. That doesn't mean that the answer is 10. That means n is 10. See, look, isn't this A sub 3? Yes? Then that doesn't mean this is 3. That only means that we're at the third term. And then the question is, what is the third term? Okay, so a lot of kids will get that confused. They think that if it's A sub 10, the answer is 10. No, n is 10, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be at 10. You're going to be at some number at the 10th term. So let me say this. If this is what I'm going to call A sub n, then this makes sense that this would be A sub n minus 1, doesn't it? Because look, this would be A sub 3, and this would be A sub 2, which makes sense. A sub n minus 1. The reason I bring that up is because in these formulas, a lot of times they use A sub n minus 1 and people overcomplicate it. When I see A sub n minus 1, wouldn't you agree that I could say, if I'm talking 16, A sub n minus 1 would be the previous term? The term before 16, isn't that true? That's just how I like to think of the formula when I see A sub n minus 1. I say, oh, that's just the previous term. So everybody, there's going to be 2 types of formulas we write today. One is called, we've got to get right to the point. Write this down. Recursive. A recursive formula is a formula that's written in terms of the previous term. So we're saying, okay, how can we find -7, -4, -1, 2, 5, 8. So you would say this, A sub n. A sub n means any term in the sequence equals, now let's write a formula in terms of the previous term. Aren't we just taking the previous term and adding 3? Take the previous term, add 3. Previous term, add 3. True, everybody? So that's what you write. A sub n minus 1. Make sure the minus 1 is tucked in with your n. We're saying take the previous term and add 3. This is called a recursive formula. It's the formula that you kind of use your intuition on, not intuition, it's like, well, what's happening? You're just telling what's happening. With this type of formula, you also have to say where to start. If I just said to you, okay, add 3 to all your previous terms, but recreate that exact sequence right there, you'd say, well, where do I need to start? Couldn't I be starting at 0 and adding 3? So you also have to say, start with a sub 1 of -7. Now, why? Because now, look, I could recreate -7, -4, -1, 2, 5, 8 with this information. See? Because sometimes they just say, given this information, find the first 4 terms. So you'd go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you would start with a sub 1 is -7. True? Then you would say, oh, if this is my formula, I take the previous term and add 3. So wouldn't that be -7 plus 3? Yes? Which is -4. Then you would say, okay, now I'm going to take the previous term and add 3. So isn't the previous term now -4 plus 3? Which is -1, and so on and so forth. So that's how that formula works. Now there's a direct formula. Direct. A direct formula is also known as an explicit formula. They use the word explicit. Explicit is explicitly tell me a formula that I can just plug directly into. See, this one wasn't really a formula I can plug directly into. If I said to you, find a sub 100, wouldn't you need the 99th term to then add 3 to it? You'd literally have to go clear out all of the places. Recursive formulas are only somewhat helpful, and the only time they're really helpful is if I say to you, find the next few terms. If I say find some term really far out, this formula is not good. So a direct formula is a formula where you don't need the previous term. It's a formula you plug directly into. So everybody, mathematicians discovered if it's arithmetic, here it is. This is the formula that you can plug directly into. This will take memorization for you. Ready? It's a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. That's always it if it's arithmetic. So you have to memorize it. If you want a direct formula you can plug directly into, if it's arithmetic, it's this. So we have to memorize it. A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. If we're writing a general formula, n stays n. Remember, d stands for difference. Remember, the word difference really means what you're adding forward. But the reason they use the word difference is because to figure it out, you subtract backwards. So let's go find it. So we would say a sub n equals, what is a sub 1? -7 plus n stays n minus 1, and then wasn't the common difference +3? Now from here, they always simplify this type of formula. So from here, they're going to take the 3 and multiply it into the n and -1. So that's -7 plus -3n plus 3. So then your answer would be a sub n equals, combine your n's. Well, there's only -3n. So write -3n. And then we're doing -7 plus 3, which is -4.
Wouldn't it be 3n minus 3? No, because she distributed the...
You take the 3 and you distribute it into n and -1, which is -3n plus 3.
Why is it -3?
So you're saying that I messed up on my subtraction and addition. So you're saying there should have been -3. Okay, good point. So you're saying that negatives... Why am I doing a negative? I have no idea why my brain is doing that. Forgive me. 3 times n is 3n. 3 times -1 is -3. Great, my video's already ruined. No, I'm just kidding. So now we're doing 3n minus 10? Yes. Okay, there we go. See, look. This formula really will get us -7, -4, -1, but it has its benefits. Look, now we don't have to use previous term. Look, a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3. Right here, we're just plugging in n equals 1. See, 3 times 1 minus 10 is -7. Plug in n equals 2. 3 times 2 minus 10 is 4. -4. Do you guys see how that one's just a plug directly in? So that one's a lot more useful.
So if we need term 100.
Yeah, so if I said you find term a sub 100, you would just go plug it in. You would go, 3 times 100 minus 10, which is 300 minus 10, which is 290. Okay, so now let's do geometric. Now, actually, I do want to point this out real quick. If it's arithmetic, the direct formula, the explicit formula will be linear. That's actually wildly important because even in today, they'll give you that formula and say, based on this formula, is it arithmetic or geometric? So if it's arithmetic, it'll be a linear problem, degree 1. Do you guys see linear? Okay, let's do geometric now. So geometric, a recursive, write this down, recursive formula is a sub n equals, what are we doing here? We're taking the previous term. A recursive formula is written with previous term. What are we doing? We're taking the previous term and we're timesing by 1/2. So this is the probably easier formula to write, but it's not really that useful. We then have to say where to start. So a sub 1 is 64. Again, now I could recreate 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2 based on that formula. Let's do an explicit formula. This takes memorization. If it's geometric, it's a sub n equals a sub 1 times by r raised to the n minus 1. So you have to memorize that. That's different than the arithmetic one. This is the direct formula. So let's write it for this one. A sub n equals, what is a sub 1? 64. What are we timesing by? R stands for ratio, which means what we're timesing by forward. Ratio, again, is divide, because you divide backwards to figure out what you're multiplying forward. So aren't we timesing by 1/2? Yes? Raised to the n minus 1. So this would be the direct formula for geometric, and this would be the recursive formula for geometric. It's just which one do they want from you? They'll ask. This one, notice, is nice because it's not like arithmetic. It doesn't simplify. Make sure you're not, like I had a student ask a very valid question last period. They're like, should I take 64 and times by 1/2? Absolutely not. No. That's out of order of operations. Is 64 raised to the n minus 1?
No.
Then no. You leave it apart. Okay. Now look, you could then create these by plugging in 1, plugging in 2, plugging in 3. Do we have questions on that? Is that making sense? Let me zoom out for you then. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to just skip past all the BS, skip past. We're going to go right here. Let's practice writing a direct and explicit formula because that's the big part of getting started here. So first you have to ask yourself on the test, is it arithmetic or geometric? Write it down. Oh, it's supposed to start with 0, by the way. So scribble out the 1. Right here. It's arithmetic. Arithmetic is addition and subtraction. So yes, it is arithmetic. No, it's just arithmetic. Okay, arithmetic. Let's do a recursive. You've got to memorize what that means. That means write a formula that uses previous term.
So, a n equals a1.
A sub n minus 1. We're taking the previous term and we are
Plus 5.
adding 5. We then state what a sub 1 is. What is a sub 1? 0. Good. Now let's do an explicit formula. You have to memorize. For arithmetic, it's a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So a sub n equals, isn't a sub 1 0? Plus n minus 1 times 5. This time I'm not going to just randomly throw a negative on there. So that's 5n minus 5. So we have 0 plus 5n minus 5. So the final answer for explicit would be a sub n equals, isn't it 5n minus 5? Because 0 minus 5 is just negative 5. Okay, so pretty simple once you get it. Okay, look at the next one. 1, 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. Are we adding the same number or multiplying by the same number? So our ratio is 1/2. Right here, our difference, our common difference was 5. Our ratio is 1/2. We have to use the correct language so we're not confused. So then you would say a recursive formula for that would be a sub n equals a sub n minus 1. Take the previous term and times it by 1/2, we said. Then you would write what a sub 1 is. A sub 1 is 1. Now let's do an explicit. An explicit formula, if it's geometric, and it is, because we're timesing by a number, is a sub n equals a sub 1 times by r raised to the n minus 1. Isn't a sub 1 1? Our ratio is 1/2 raised to the n minus 1. I didn't point this out, but notice, because this is huge, just like with arithmetic, if it's arithmetic, it'll be a linear direct formula. If it's geometric, it'll be exponential, which makes sense. Think about it. If you times by a number each time, isn't it exponential growth or decay? So it makes sense why this formula is exponential. Okay, good. All right, so now here's the thing that they'll ask on the test. Let's just jump. So let's skip all this. We're just jumping to the point. Let's jump to this example. See, this one is saying, okay, there are, these big brackets are not really important. They're saying, okay, there's 1 through infinite terms. Cool. So they're saying this pattern goes on forever. Now, when you look at it, is it arithmetic? No, it's not linear. Is it geometric? No. It will literally look exactly like the line and exponentials we know. So that doesn't mean we can't find the answers to the terms. It's just not going to be arithmetic or geometric. And they do ask you to do that on the test. So let's practice this. Okay, so it says find the first whatever, how many terms? Find the first 4. Let's just do 3 for quickness purposes. So label it a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3. This is a direct formula where we're going to plug it in. So what does n equal right here? 1. So let's go plug in 1. Negative 1. Anywhere there's an n, I'm putting what n is. In this case, it's 1. So we're going to go 1 plus 1. Then there's a times sign. 1 divided by 1 plus 1. So isn't that negative 1 squared times 1/2? Negative 1 squared is 1. So we have 1 times 1/2, which is 1/2. So our first term came out to be 1/2. Now in this case, it's n equals 2. So let's go plug in 2. So that'd be negative 1 raised to the 2 plus 1 times 2. See, anywhere there's an n, I'm putting a 2. We all understand that, right? 2 plus 1, which would be negative 1 cubed times 2/3, which is negative 1 times 2/3, which is negative 2/3. And then this time n equals 3. Okay, yeah. Do ask questions, please, if you guys got them. So I'm just plugging in now n equals 3 since it's a sub 3. So negative 1 to the 3 plus 1 times 3 divided by 3 plus 1, which would be negative 1 to the 4th times 3/4, which is 1 times 3/4, which is 3/4. So you can see that's not arithmetic, it's not geometric, but we can still find the terms, especially if they give us a formula. Questions on that one? Okay. All right. Do you guys want to do that again? Or are you guys like, we're good, we get it. Plug in 1, plug in 2, plug in 3. Okay, let's move on then. All right, folks, like I said, we already skipped to all this. Like, we've literally done all that. So we're jumping right to the examples. Okay, look at this one. Now, we should be able to answer their question if it's linear. If they want to know if it is arithmetic or geometric or neither. So right here, this is the formula. Based on it, isn't it linear? You're right. Very good. It's linear, so you're going to answer it's arithmetic. So it's arithmetic. If it's arithmetic, they want you to find the first 3 terms. That's what that's saying. See, n equals 1. We know they want you to find a sub 1, a sub 2, and a sub 3. Let's go do that. So this is a direct formula. Look at it. So let's just plug directly in n equals 1. So that'd be 2 times 1 plus 1 is 3. Plug in n equals 2. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. Plug in n equals 3. 2 times 3 plus 1 is 7. And now they want to know, okay, since it's arithmetic, what's the common difference? Yep, we're adding 2. Very good, Caleb. We're adding 2. Plus this whole time, Caleb, I thought you were a senior. The only time I realized it was in the last assembly. And I'm like, what the heck? A senior standing in the junior section. Just kidding. Okay. Adding 2. You're right. So everybody write CD, or you can just write D. It's more common for them to just like leave the C off. The common difference, meaning what you were adding forward, was 2. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, very good. Now if it said graph this, you would just go like this. Guys, if they just said graph this, just go 3, 5, 7. Creates a line. You know what I mean? Don't make it anything better than that. Okay, look at number 2. Whoa. Look at number 2. You would say to yourself, they want to know if it's arithmetic or geometric. Is it linear? No. Is it exponential? No. Exponential would look like a times b raised to the x minus 1. Do you guys see what I'm saying? It is not in that format. We write it as a sub 1 times by r to the n minus 1. So it's just a random formula. but it's not arithmetic and it's not geometric, so you would just say neither. There's only the two. Arithmetic, geometric. This is just random. They're going to throw in random formulas. Now, could we... Yeah, if it's not arithmetic and it's not geometric, then they would just give it to you like this and say, find the first three terms. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so neither. So we're moving on. Now this one, they've written ugly. It is actually, I need everyone listening, it is exponential. They just wrote it all fancy. Here's why, look. Wouldn't you agree this is the same thing as 5 times 1/3 to the n minus 1? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That is. It's just they've written it like multiply straight across, which is kind of weird, but they could do that. That is still exponential. Look, if you think about it, that's actually no different than this. 5 times 1/3 to the n minus 1. Why? Because look, that's 5 times 1 to the n minus 1 divided by 3 to the n minus 1. Isn't 1 to any power just 1? So that would be 5 times 1 over 3 n minus 1. Which, do you guys see what I'm saying? So they've like written it all fancy. It's a trick. It's a trick.
They're trying to trick us.
So it is exponential. That's 5 times 1/3 to the n minus 1. So you would say this is, I think they'll write it like this on the test, by the way. Exponential. Because look at it, it's exponential, which is geometric, is more what I was going for. Exponentials are geometric. Then we're going to write out a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3. So this would be n equals 1. So that would be 5 times 1/3 to the 1 minus 1, which is 5 times 1/3 to the 0, which is not 1.
Oh, 5?
It's 5.
Oh, I thought.
Isn't this 1?
Yeah.
5 times 1 is 5, everybody. N equals 2. 5 times 1/3 to the 2 minus 1. Wouldn't that be 5 times 1/3 to the first?
Yep, so just 5 times 1/3.
5/3.
Put in the calc.
Then plug in n equals 3. That would be 5 times 1/3 to the 3 minus 1, which is 5 times 1/3 squared, which is 5 times 1/9, which is 5/9. So we found a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3. Okay, questions? Does that feel okay? Okay, right here, write an explicit formula for this, it says. You'd say, well, is it arithmetic or geometric? Don't mistake that 1. That's problem number 1. I do that all the time. So I'm just going to erase the 1. Okay, write that. Write yourself a little note. I'm adding 5, adding 5. So that would be this. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So a sub n equals, isn't a sub 1 negative 6? Plus n minus 1 times d. D is the common difference, which is what you're adding. So 5. Then they distribute. Negative 6 plus 5n minus 5. So a sub n equals 5n minus 11. So we just wrote the explicit formula. The next one,
Oh, it's minus 11.
minus 5. It's okay. Look at this next one. Can you tell what you're timesing by each time or no? If not, you're going to do this.
No, not really.
If you can't, then you're going to do this divided by this divided by this divided by this. And it better be the same number. So you better at least do 2 of them to make sure. So I'm going to go 40 27ths. It's actually not that hard to divide. Watch. 40 27ths divided by negative 29ths. Watch, everybody. Isn't it true that dividing fractions is easy as pie? Flip this one and multiply.
Yeah.
So it'll be negative 9 over 20ths. Now watch how easy this simplifies. 9 27ths is 1/3. 40 over 2 is 2 over 1. So negative 2/3. Oh, that's what we were timesing by. Negative 2 divided by 3. So our ratio is negative 2/3. So you would say a sub n equals a sub 1 times by r to the n minus 1, since it's geometric. So a sub n equals a sub 1, which is negative 5, times by negative 2/3 to the n minus 1. And that would have been your answer. So it does take memorization. If, and again, I'm pointing out, see, when it's arithmetic, it'll be linear. When it's geometric, it'll be exponential. That's huge for next time's lesson. So we just got to remember that. You guys feeling okay about that? It is a lot of info all at once. Okay, again, moving on. Okay, read this one with me. I need everyone locking in because now they get to the hard stuff. It says the first term of an arithmetic sequence, draw your visual aid. So it says a sub 1 is 15, and then it says, and then the 10th term, so all we know is a sub 10, is negative 12. So I write myself a few little notes. So right here, isn't n equal to 1? And n is equal to 10 here. Now it says, write an explicit formula. So I first say, okay, since they told me it's arithmetic, this is my answer. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Now I usually start with the first one and see by plugging in everything I know if that's all I need or if I need to move on to the next given information. So a sub n, wouldn't it be a sub 1, everyone? With this info right here? Okay, equals a sub 1 plus n, we do know n. It's 1 minus 1. Do we know d? No, so write d. So now we know, don't write a sub 1. We know what a sub 1 is. What is a sub 1? So you'd say 15 equals 15 plus 0d.
Why is the a n 15?
Because that's where we're starting, with the known. We know this and we know this. I'm just starting at the first one. I always start and say, is the first one enough information to solve? Because sometimes it is. So aren't we just getting 15 equals 15 plus 0? So 15 equals 15. Well, that didn't help us find anything. It gave us a true statement, but we weren't able to help. So we're like, well, then let's see if this is more helpful. So write it. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. What is a sub n? Negative 12. What is a sub 1? 15 plus, what is n? We're now at purple box.
10.
So 10 minus 1 times d. Oh, that actually will be more helpful. So let's see. Negative 12 equals 15 plus, isn't that just 9d?
90.
See, look, now we can solve for d. It didn't have the variable cancel out. The first one was a problem because the variable was canceled out. Everything went away. But in this one, we're like, oh, that's good. We can solve for d. So the first step would be subtract 15. Negative 27 equals 9d. Solve for d. Divide by 9. Negative 3 is d. So now can we write our explicit formula? That's what it said. Write an explicit formula. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So write a sub n equals a sub 1 is 15 plus, leave n as n. An explicit formula by definition is a formula that has n in it. So then you would say n minus 1 times negative 3.
So we're only filling in n when we have a term that we know.
Correct. If they're just wanting the general formula, you might first have to go figure out what d is and actually plug in n. But then you go back to, okay, I'm not going to have n plugged in, anything in. So that'd be 15 plus negative 3n plus 3. So the final answer is a sub n equals negative 3n plus, is it 18? Okay, that would be our answer. So you can see sometimes it just takes plugging in what you know and then solving for the unknown. Okay, now watch, because it's not always going to be that easy. Look at the next one. It says the first term is negative 12. I hope everyone's paying attention. A sub 1 is negative 12. And the common difference, so I'm going to write myself a note, common difference is 5. So what does that mean? We're adding 5 each time. It says which term, so it's a sub n, we don't know. It says which term will be value 58. So this is my visual aid. So I always say, what formula do I for sure know? Well, it's arithmetic. Because if they say geometric, we're using a different formula. So you would start with this. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d.
I always forget the plus.
Yes, it would. Because you're right. I've done the same. Now, isn't this what we want? Is this a sub n? Because they said, what term are we on? So if we find out this is a sub 50, we know we're at the 50th term, right, everyone? Yes?
Isn't it just N15?
What?
Isn't it just N15?
Yeah, but I'm gonna do it with algebra because this one, a lot of people can do it in their head. They just add 5 till they get out to here. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But sometimes on the test, they put it so far out on purpose that it would just take a long time to add 5 and keep track of where you're at. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna quickly plug it into the formula. So what is a sub n then? We know it. 58. So write 58 equals, what's a sub 1? Negative 12. We don't know n. See, n is the unknown. So write n minus 1, but we do know d is 5. Now look, this will actually be really quick. There's only one unknown, and it's n, which is what we need. So now from here, you'll just solve for n. So the first step would be add 12. 70, I believe, equals n minus 1 times 5. I could distribute 5 through like this, or couldn't I just divide 5 right here, right now?
Yeah.
So 14 equals n minus 1. We'll add 1. 15 equals n. Now we know it was a sub 15. 15th term. So that one was also quite easy. We just plugged in what we knew, and there's only one unknown. But you're going to see, sometimes you're going to plug in, and there's going to be 2 unknowns.
Is that just our answer?
Yeah, I said, it says which term was 58? 15th term. So you're answering what they asked for. So look at the next one, though. I need everyone locking in, because this one is intense. A lot of kids would freeze up on this next one. It says find a sub 13 if a sub 10 is this and a sub 30 is this. This would not be reasonable to for most people to go figure out by just like thinking in their head. So you would just set up you would set up an equation. So you'd say, since it's arithmetic, I know this. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Well, we have this info and we have this info. Right here isn't n equal to 10. And right here, n is equal to 30. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. Let's see if the first one is enough to solve. Remember, in the last couple examples, one or the other ended up letting us just solve the whole thing. Let's see if it is. So what is a sub n for the first box? It's negative 14. What is a sub 1? We don't know. So write a sub 1 plus. Now we do know n. We're at the first box. It's 10 minus 1. What is d? It's just d. We don't know. So let's simplify that a little. That's negative 14 equals a sub 1 plus 9d. Now I want to point something out. When you used the first box, didn't you have 2 unknowns? Anytime you have 2 unknowns, you need 2 equations. That's just how math works. It's a system of equations. 2 unknowns means 2 equations. So you're like, oh, I'm sure there's 2 unknowns there. I didn't mess up. I didn't miss anything. Crap. So that means we now need to use the second box and do the same thing. So what is a sub n this time? Negative 54 equals, do we know a sub 1? Plus, do we know n though? Yes. 30 minus 1 times d. So now we have, let's simplify it a little bit. We have negative 54 equals a sub 1 plus 29d. See, we have 2 unknowns. The good news is, if you have 2 unknowns and you have 2 equations, you can line them up and use elimination to solve. So let's line them up. Negative 14 equals a sub 1 plus 9d. Negative 54 equals a sub 1 plus 29d. Okay, good. So you're saying you would like to use method elimination and you want to eliminate a sub 1. So remember, with method elimination, you're going to be adding the equations together and having one of the variables eliminate. So Cutter has decided to eliminate a sub 1. So let's times the top equation by, negative 1. My little thing, I hate when it shifts like that. Let's times negative 1. So that'd be 14 equals negative a sub 1 minus 9d. So then I do negative 54 plus 14, because I'm adding straight down, and I get 40. Actually, negative 40 equals a sub 1 minus a sub 1 eliminates. 29d minus 9d is 20d's. So now we'll divide by 20. Negative 2 is d. Now we stay below the line. I do a bulletin point. I'll plug it in. Negative 14 equals a sub 1 plus 9d. I'm going to plug in negative 2. So negative 14 equals a sub 1 plus 9 times negative 2. So negative 14 equals a sub 1 plus negative 18. So I add 18. 4 equals a sub 1. Now that we've solved for d and a sub 1, can't we write our general formula that will allow us to find whatever term we want? So now we're going to write our general formula. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So a sub n equals a sub 1, we just found to be 4, plus, leave n as n if you're writing a general formula, n minus 1 times negative 2. Now we can distribute the negative 2 in. So that'd be 4 minus 2n plus 2. So our general formula is negative 2n plus 6. See, now that we went to all that work to find this, we can answer their question. Didn't they want the 13th term? Is that what they asked for?
Yeah.
Find the 13th term. So now you're going to do a sub 13 equals negative 2 times 13 plus 6. Negative 26 plus 6 is negative 20. So that would be our final answer, is negative 20. So you can see in some of the examples, one or the other gave you enough information to solve. You weren't missing anything. You're only missing one thing. In this case, we were missing two things. So we had to have two equations, and then we had to solve the system. Again, moving on. Next question. You just need to see lots of examples. This is geometric. You definitely want to see this one. This one was yikes. The way they chose to do it last period was, I think, harder than just using the formula. So look. A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3, A sub 4. Don't we know A sub 5? 4/5, yeah? And then our ratio is 2/3. What does that mean? We're timesing by 2/3. It says find an explicit formula. An explicit formula is A sub n equals A sub 1 times by r to the n minus 1. How come I use that? Because now they switched to geometric. I'm going to see if it's easier just to solve by plugging in what I know. Last period, they had me take 4/5 and divide 2/3 a few times, which just took a lot. Yeah. So I'm just going to go plug in. What is n here? 5. What is a sub n?
4/5.
It's 4/5. So write 4/5 equals, do we know a sub 1? So write a sub 1. Do we know r though? 2/3. And then this will actually be way better. I like the formula. So then what is n? We said 5 minus 1. Do you guys agree? So now we have 4/5 equals a sub 1 times by 2/3 to the 4th. So then we have 4/5 equals a sub 1 times 2 to the 4th is, we have 2 to the 4th divided by 3 to the 4th, don't we? So 4/5 equals a sub 1 times 16/81. Get a sub 1 alone now.
Divide by 1680 for...
Let's do it easy. Let's just times by 81/16 to both sides. Isn't that the easy way?
Oh, yeah. That's a quicker way.
It's a quicker way. So now we would have a sub 1 is equal to 81/16 times 4/5. So now I'm going to simplify. 16 and 4 divide out to be 1/4. And now I'm going to go like this in my calculator. 81. Does 81 divide by 5? It's a decimal, so I'm not doing that. But what about 81 divided by 4? No. So is that just it then?
It's 81/20.
81/20. A sub 1 is 81/20. So now we can write our formula. A sub n equals a sub 1 times by r to the n minus 1. A sub n equals 81/20. Our r was 2/3 to the n minus 1. If they want you to write a formula, you're leaving n as n, remember, in the final answer. So that would be our answer. That was actually way quicker, in my opinion, even though it kind of stuck still, to find a sub 1.
So we don't need to find... Oh, it didn't ask.
Yeah, that's all it asked for. It was an explicit formula. Okay, again, more examples. I need everyone locking in. Skip that. Well, let's actually look at this one because I don't think it's arithmetic or geometric. Like, what are you adding? 3. Then you're adding 5. Then you're adding 7.
Arithmetic continues.
It's like almost arithmetic, but it's not. Arithmetic by definition is adding the exact same number. But the good news is they didn't want a formula from you. I'm telling you, I don't even know how to write that formula. They didn't ask it. They just said, find the next 2 terms. So just keep with the pattern here. Isn't it then adding 9?
Yeah.
Then we'll be adding 11, adding 13.
So 30.
So take 28 and add 11. I'm going to do it with a calculator. Don't judge me. 39. And then I'm going to add 13. So the good news is sometimes they will throw in random ones that aren't arithmetic or geometric, but they won't ask you to write a formula for it. They'll just say, like, figure out the pattern and find the next few terms. Moving on, look at this one. Okay, it says find the first 4 terms. I'm telling you how many gallons of people miss this on the test. We're going to practice this one. Here we go. It's not hard. Write a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, and a sub 4. It says n needs to be greater than or equal to 2. Well, that's fine. This is -1. Look, it was given. Right here, n equals 2. Well, yeah, it said right there, it needs to be greater than or equal to 2. Yeah, you didn't even need to say that. That's silly. And then go plug it in. So wouldn't that be -3 to the 2 minus 1 divided by a sub 2 minus 1 minus 2. So that takes a lot of simplification. I'm going to go below. That's -3 to the what power? 1 divided by, isn't that a sub 1?
Yeah.
Minus 2. Well, then simplify again. So that's -3 to the first divided by what is a sub 1? -1 minus 2. What do you mean?
I was just confused why you're writing a sub 1. It's just 1.
Because I plugged in 2. 2 minus 1. So then what am I getting on top? -3. And on bottom I'm getting -3, which is 1. Oh, all that work for that. Okay. Let's now go plug in n equals 3. So that would be -3. Anywhere there's an n is a 3. 3 minus 1 divided by a to the 3 minus 1 minus 2. So that'd be -3 squared divided by a sub 2 minus 2. Isn't that 9 on top? What is a sub 2? 1 minus 2. So wouldn't that be 9 over -1? Which is -9. Holy shnikes. N equals 4. -3 to the 4 minus 1 divided by a sub 4 minus 1 minus 2. So that'd be -3 to the third divided by a sub 3 minus 2. Which is -27. And then a sub 3 was -9 minus 2, which is -27 over -11. So 27/11ths. All right, so we won't miss those on the test where they make you just plug it in and go. It's not arithmetic and it's not geometric, which makes sense. I could have told you that. Look at the formula. It's not linear and it's not geometric, or it's not exponential. It's some rando.
Why is it? Shouldn't it be -27 divided by 7?
I had -9 minus 2.
Oh, yeah, no, never mind.
Okay. Do you guys need to do another one of those formulas or you get the picture here? Okay, moving on then. Look at these. Look at these. Is it arithmetic or geometric? Do you guys need to practice more of those or you get it? How will you know if it's arithmetic? You're adding the same number. How can you figure that out? You subtract backwards. If it's geometric, won't you be timesing by the same number? To figure it out, you divide backwards. Okay, we won't do those then. Move on. Do we need to practice more formula writing? Okay, just do one of these then. You said number 38. Okay, so then I'm like going to go like this. Okay, number 38. You would say to yourself, is it arithmetic or geometric? If they're asking you to write a direct formula, it should be arithmetic or geometric, and if not, you're going to skip it. You know it's arithmetic because they're adding. What are they subtracting? Oh, they're minusing 8? Minusing 8, minusing 8, minusing 8. And it said explicit. So you'd say a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. A sub n equals, isn't a sub 1 32? The first term? And then plus n minus 1 times -8. We would then distribute negative 8 in. So that'd be 32 minus 8n plus 8. So the answer would be a sub n equals negative 8n plus 40.
Yeah.
All right, I think you guys seem to get the explicit formula writing. You do have to have it memorized, though. If it was geometric, we'd use a different formula, right? We'd be using the a sub n equals a sub 1 times by r to the n minus 1. Okay.
I feel like we never use recursive when it's like.
We don't. We don't very often. Okay, do you guys need this one or is that almost too easy? It says use the given information to write the first 5 terms. Okay, so a sub 1, a sub 2, stick with me, a sub 3, a sub 4, a sub 5. Okay, it said a sub 1 is 0. The common difference is 2/3. So what are we subtracting? Make sure you don't accidentally multiply. My brain almost did that. I was like, so times by 2/3. But isn't difference mean subtract?
And it's 0, so you.
So 0 minus 2/3. Oh wait, are we adding 2/3? It's positive?
Yeah.
Yes. It's what you're adding forward. So that'd be 2/3. So then won't we add 2/3 again? So that'd be 2/3 plus 2/3 is 4/3, my friends. Add 2/3 again. 6/3, which is 2. Add 2/3 again. 7/3. I just went back to 6/3.
So if it was D equals
8/3. Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, let's look at this one. I need you to look because this one's not so obvious. It says, use the given information to write the first 5 terms. So here's a sub 1 is 17. Now, unfortunately, they didn't give us anything till a sub 7. It's negative 31. We were told it's arithmetic, so this would be my formula. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. I need to figure out what I'm subtracting each time, don't I? Don't I need d?
Yeah.
So let's see if... Should we try to use this or should we go to this? Sometimes this one's more helpful, right? Remember how a minute ago we saw that? Maybe we need both. Yeah. If we try the first one, we get 0, that thing where the variables cancel out again, I think. So let's use this second one. What is a sub n then?
7.
Negative 31.
I meant that.
Yeah. A sub 1 is? 17 plus, do we know n here?
It's 7.
So 7 minus 1 times d. See? Oh, good. Only one unknown. Negative 31 equals 17 plus 6d. So you'll subtract 17. 48 equals 6d. Negative 48 equals 6d. So aren't we getting negative 8 equals d? So now we can answer it. It says find the first 5 terms. So here's a sub 2, a sub 3, a sub 4, a sub 5. We're just subtracting 8. So I would literally just go to my calculator and go 17 minus 8 is 9. Minus 8 is 1. Minus 8 is negative 7. Minus 8 is negative 15. So then that's what you'd be highlighting on your test. Questions on that one? Is that making sense? Okay, moving on then. These are geometric. Let's do this one. Oh dear, this one definitely needs to be seen. We'll skip this one. That one's easy. Look, they give you a sub 1 and 1/5 is r. So won't the first 5 terms just be times by a fifth, times by a fifth, times by a fifth? So I'm going to skip that one. This one's trickier. I would definitely watch this one. So we know a sub 1, we don't actually. We know a sub 6 is 25, and we know a sub 9 is negative 3.125. It's geometric, so this is what you would do. A sub n equals a sub 1 times by r to the n minus 1. Let's start with this box. N equals 6 here. So a sub n, what is a sub n? It's not 6. Oh, that's a common error. It's not even a sub 6. We want to say, what is it? Isn't it 25, everybody? Do we know a sub 1? No. Do we know r?
Yes.
Nope.
No. We don't know it.
Look at this. This is a separate problem.
Oh.
So we have 2 unknowns. What is n, though? 6 minus 1. So we have 25 equals a sub 1 times r to the 5th. Do you guys agree we have 2 unknowns? Then you need 2 equations. This is a system of equations.
I feel like every time they give 2 different a equals, it's going to be a system.
Sometimes, remember, there's been a few actually where one or the other, we actually had enough info. Okay, so let's do it again. A sub n is negative 3.125 equals, we don't know a sub 1, we don't know r, but we know n is 9 minus 1. So that'd be negative 3.125 equals a sub 1 times by r to the 8th. Let's line them up. This is a system of equations. 25 equals a sub 1 times by r to the 5th. And negative 3.125 equals a sub 1 times r to the 8th. We're solving a system of equations right here. Want to know what's cool? Well, let's just use what we know. Math is math. Can we get a sub 1 alone and plug it in? Let's use not elimination, let's use substitution. Solve for this a sub 1. What would we do? Divide by r to the 5th. So now we have this. 25 divided by r to the 5th is a sub 1. We then are going to go and replace a sub 1 with that. So we have negative 3.125 equals, instead of a sub 1, we're putting 25 over r to the 5th. This is actually pretty easy. Watch. Well, look, that's actually really easy. If there are 8 r's on top and 5 on bottom, aren't we looking at negative 3.125 equals 25? Do you guys understand there are 8 r's on top?
Yeah. R's.
And 5 on bottom. So what does that leave me with?
3 R's.
3 r's on top. Okay, look, solve for r then. Divide by 25. Take our calculator. Negative 3.125. Divide by 25. Well, let's not even do that. Decimals are allowed.
What?
If decimals are there, we can use decimals. How do you undo a cube power? Cube root. So you can type into your calculator negative 1.125 raised to the 1/3 power if you want. Or you can type in cube root. Guess what? That's really nice. It's negative 0.5 equals r. Isn't that just like negative 1/2 equals r? You could use the decimal or fraction. It doesn't matter. Now that we know r, what were we trying to find? The first 5 terms. Okay, now that we know r, we need a sub 1. So let's go plug it into one or the other equations. So I'm going to go 25 equals a sub 1 times by negative 1/2 to the 5th. So I'm going to, well, most of you would probably do it this way. 25 equals a sub 1 times negative 1 over 32. Negative 1 to the 5th power is negative 1. 2 to the 5th is 32. Do you guys see how I'm getting 1 over 32? Well, then times by 32 to both sides. 25 times 32 is 800. 800 is a sub 1. So now we can write out the first 5 terms. A sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, a sub 4. The first 5 terms. A sub 5. Okay, watch. Now it's going to go easy because I'm just going to use easy math. If this is 800, aren't I then just timesing by negative 1/2? So 800 times negative 0.5 is negative 400. Isn't it being cut in half?
And negative.
And then it'll be positive 200. Cut that in half, negative 100. Cut that in half, won't it be 50?
That's kind of weird.
So that would have been my answer there. Okay, so you can see this next few are very similar. Do you guys see how they're giving you 2, right? So then you plug it into the formula, find the unknown, write the formula, plug it in. Do you guys need more of those? You're like, we get it. Okay. All right, these are all the same thing. See, look, it's like, it's the same thing over and over again. Okay, I think you guys probably get it. Do you guys want to see this last one, or are you guys sure you're good? Okay, you're going to go work on homework. You guys have absolutely got to practice these because a lot of kids have a hard time with these. They get stuck. So then you could get help in class next time. Next time's lesson's kind of long as well. So you could schedule a B-day lunch with me, preferably B-day lunch. Or you could just, there is going to be a review day. You can come in before school, 10 minutes before school. And then remember, I'm always available during B5. If you can ever sneak out of your B5 class and come in, that's like a study hall for me, basically. Okay, the time's yours to work on these, and so I can help you.